everyone's having a good day today. Man, oh man, there are some release weeks when they just are like, what we should do. There's going to be a really big release that comes out this week. So let's put out all the rest of the really big release things that we want to have people pay attention to on the same day. So everyone, it's just like when they do movies, right? There's a big movie that gets released. Someone that's smart at one of the studios says, okay, well, there's a popcorn munching action film that everyone's going to go watch, but there's going to be something that, other people want. Let's put a kids movie out. Let's put like old period piece romance or whatever. So there's something for everybody at the movie theater. So even if you don't want to go see superheroes punch each other, that was what it was like this week. There's something for every daggum person. Probably I'll pre-apologize for your pocketbook because my words, it is going to be one of those weeks. Okay, just so that you guys kind of remember, we've had a big lineup of stuff for people to get excited about. There's been Age of Revelation stuff that's been going on for the last 2 or 3 weeks to get everyone excited for that event. And also a heads up that for that awesome Marvel Universe, you had all these favorite books that you liked for a while, right? You liked the Uncanny X-Men and the other relaunch titles that they had. Well, just remember that this small period of time, there are new replacement titles that are going to be on while we have Age of Revelation, which is cool because the titles are really dope. And characters from those series that you have come to love are in these titles. So you're not going to be like, oh, we're all my favorite people. You're still around. And then we've been ramping up for, 3 years, whenever they started the all-in line, toward this kind of like, this is now second phase for DC. And the awesome DCKO that starts this week. There were some things that led up to it, including like an ash can that I hope you guys picked up so you can get yourself going. And also show you they provided to stores a really nice tournament poster so you can kind of keep track of who's winning what. Hey, unknown. And there is I think we get our first Transformers by Kirkman this week, which I did not get to read because I just got overwhelmed with the amount of stuff. And we got some more Absolute titles. So this is going to be a huge week for review and for thinking about what you want to buy. And definitely a reminder to put things on your pull boxes because I have a feeling that there'll be a lot of people standing at their local comic shops tomorrow after they get off work at 5 o'clock trying to find DCKO and aren't going to find it on the rack because it's that good. All right, let's get with the reviews. Hi, Strangeness. Okay, this is really crazy. This is, there's 2 books that I read this week that are kind of like UFO related. This is kind of interesting. So this starts out with a girl who has kind of reported that she has had an interaction with beings from another world or seeing a UFO in the sky or something. And 25 is the start of the Kirkman run. You got it, unknown. That's the truth. And she has these like weird guys in black suits. We're supposed to be thinking maybe Men in Black kind of situation that show up at her place. And it's a really weird interaction. And she disappears. That's the first couple pages of the book. And then it focuses on a reporter who's he himself writing a very serious expose piece, but his boss doesn't want him to do that. He sends him to this town where this happened because the boss is more interested in something he thinks will sell papers, and alien stuff sounds like it probably will. The problem is that right away, the reporter starts having weird time flashes. Like he sees interactions with maybe these guys in black that he's not really sure what's going on. I really like tales like this that are kind of like being told in a way that are going to allow us to kind of like suss it out later what's really going on and at what time. And it is kind of mirroring what a lot of times gets reported by people like in real life when they have loss of time or interaction with men in black. They can't really tell you how long they were there, what was said. There's a lot of like mind weirdness about when people report these kind of interactions and or, UFO situations and stuff. So this is really cool. I like that it's the reporter finding out that there is a missing girl and trying to get enough information for this article, but also he himself is looking like he's getting caught up in the what's going on in this town. So it is a great book by Chris Condon. The art is really cool. It's supposed to take place in 1967, which it says on the front of the cover, so it's very easy to figure that out. And it happens in Indiana, so if you're from Indiana, boop, boop, to you. It's spooky because it's like cornfields and stuff. Just ramps up the anxiety for all of this. Oh, and they change colors a lot in the panels. Whenever there are panels where you're seeing these men in black, they're mostly going to be kind of like red toned, like this cover. So really cool. I like anything with aliens or possible aliens or brain strangeness that you're like, maybe I'm just going crazy. Harley Quinn and Elvira. This one is just a really fun romp. Starts out all Harley, just her interacting with, I guess she has a beaver. This is like a real animal beaver. That's one of her pets, and a chicken. And what's the other creature she has? Like she wakes up in the morning and they're all hanging out in the bed with her. Just series of events where it just like gets to see her crazy personality. This is when you get to see Palmiotti and Connor work together with Harley. It's always great because they understand her very quirky personality. There is a lot of sexual innuendo in this, which matches Elvira's vibe a lot. So really funny, punny, things like that. So what happens is that Harley realizes because due to life circumstances, she missed out on her very favorite spooky holiday. And really wants to rectify that by having a giant party. You see from Elvira's point of view that her shows are losing viewership or something. And she's worried because all of the niceties she's used to, like a nice place to live and all those kinds of things, are kind of paid for by the current studios. She's worried about losing that. So this book is all about them working together to try to figure out how to help each other out. Harley have a really good spooky holiday, and Elvira from being displaced from her lovely digs, and how they can get into shenanigans together. It is a fun romp. I also see that there's some New York Comic Con exclusives coming out. There's a bunch of cool New York Comic Con stuff that you're going to see in the next couple of days. You'll see people popping up with pictures of their exclusives, which is kind of fun. Okay, I don't really know what this was about because it has the main title, what my friend calls "Sick or Something is Killing the Children" as a title, and I didn't know if this was a single shot, which I still don't know for sure. This one reads as a single shot. It can be. I suppose it could keep on going from here. I like it because it's main universe and it's Erica Slaughter. This one's kind of one of those fun capsule issues where she walks into a bar, as it describes in the subtitle there, sits down and is just kind of trying to have a quiet moment. She's hungry and she's thirsty, but the bartender that's there is a very chatty one. And the whole issue is basically her listening to the bartender kind of regale her with tales that he's heard from people that live in the town, because it kind of piques her interest whenever he says, well, you see that guy sitting over there. He had direct interaction. He actually saw one of the kids get killed. And so here's his story. So they tell the story, and that's, of course, all illustrated. So, and then it's like, as people come and go from the bar, there are more and more stories that come out, which is kind of a cool way to tell a tale from the adult's point of view, because we usually get it from Erica's point of view as she fights the monsters. This one is a really fun way to tell the tale. It's still bloody and scary and all those kinds of things because it's talking about killing kids or the killing of kids. Feels like they're competing with manga for the longest title in a book. Actually, no. There was a book today that one of my sweet staff members was putting away, and it was like literally the title went all the way down the book. It totally won. I can't remember the title of it. I wish I'd written it down for y'all. But yeah, it was really long. But anyway, this one, if you are a completionist for everything Eclectic, you'll need it. And or if you just want to, like, this one actually is a good place to jump in if you don't know anything about it and you're thinking about joining the universe. This one gives you all the information that you need about the scariness of the monsters, and that people can, like adult people cannot see them, kids can see them, and Erica can see them, and what they look like, which is terrifying. So, and yeah, good stuff. All right, I learned stuff from this book. This is from Boom Box, which is part of Boom, which their material is aimed a little more at the YA market. But this one is kind of a really fun book. I really enjoyed it. I didn't feel like it was being like really marketed to them. I think it's just that they leave out like anything that might be too mature. Like the main Boom titles sometimes have a lot of mature things in them. So this one is okay to hand to your teenager. And they would identify with this because it deals with a young lady who herself, it's so funny because my very own son actually did this too. Not the rest of the story, but like he used to write like fan fiction based in a specific video game universe. There was a whole app that was dedicated just to the telling of those tales. Awesome. And he was somebody that was of note on this platform. People knew him. Sorry. I got more stuff. Shanice is bringing me more things. Oh no, more things. Thank you. So I did not know what the premise of the term Mary Sue was, but I think the way they present it in this book, and maybe it is a term that you guys recognize, is the idea of writing a story and thinly veiling the characters that you're writing about as being people that you actually know, including yourself. So you would be the Mary Sue. So this young lady is kind of an awkward kiddo, would rather stay inside, and plus she has a very active friendship and fandom that interacts with her a lot. As she does this, I think she just like writes the chapters live for the internet, and they read it live, and everyone makes comments as they read it. And they're a very hungry fan group, so they get kind of like anxious if she doesn't post new chapters every day. And her mom has forbidden for her to be on, I think, the platform that she's on. And so her mom's really kind of like worried about her not having real friends, I guess is the way she puts it. I've kind of wrapped my mind around the fact that my children have made many of their very close friendships online from people all over the country, and they actually have gotten together and they are really, truly friends in real life. So it's not the way I grew up, but I realized that that is a fine way to make friends from all over and from all different points of view. So I like that. All right, so, okay, EXP gives us the actual definition of a Mary Sue. It's a fictional character, typically female, who is unrealistically perfect, lacking flaws, whose every action is successful and praised, often seen as a self-insert by the author. And a lazy writing trope. Okay, well, this one turns all of that on its head, which is really very cool, because in the climax of this book, there is something big that happens in regards to the characters that she's been writing and what happens in real life. So I really kind of wasn't seeing this coming at all, but I like the reveal for it, and I think it's really going to be interesting going forward in the storyline for how it all rolls out, honestly. So if you like to be surprised and you like all those kind of like awkward teen stories that school is weird and there's lots of, like your whole world feels like it's going to crash at any moment, this is a really cool book. Marian Heretic. This is interesting. It kind of gives you some revelations as you go along. I don't want to give it away completely. You can tell from the name of the book that Marian is this main character here, and she is a heretic. But what it looks like from her point of view is that I think she's supposed to be the Mother Superior, but she got caught by the guys that are leading the church. In this case, there is a father character, a son character, and a Holy Spirit character. But she herself has been found to be a heretic because she finds her power comes from, I'm guessing, Mary. So that is how she gets in trouble. But she's been, because of her heresy, the leading guys in the church, which these leads in the church feel like they're not like actual above board people, that they're actually kind of culty, but that she has to go and kill witches. And the big kind of like early page thing that said that is like, what is that one of the witches basically calls her sister, and I think that has a double meaning, honestly, for this book. So it is not like I'm trying to remember Warrior Nun Ariella, because she is somebody that has like a more like she's a real kind of serious nun. This is more like this one feels like she doesn't really know what she believes 100%. And there are some crazy cool weapons in here, by the way. Oh, Steve's made up a new name for a book. Something is following the moon children who do bad things down by the house on the lake beneath the trees where nobody sees. I like that one. That one would be kind of a good book to read. Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. There are a ton of Age of Revelation books this week. I could not finish all of them. I had an entire 3 hours to read, but I was at the end just like doing the best I could to like read this fast as I could, because 22 titles is a lot in a week to try to like read and put in your brain completely. But I will tell you, just to get you caught up, is that character on the front is Revelation. Revelation released a virus onto the earth, which basically turned everyone into a mutant. He pushed a lot of our main characters forward 10 years to a world in which he controls everything. And it looks like it's all good for the mutants. But there are some that don't really go along with them. The ones that got pushed forward got pulled forward to try to help to fight are Cyclops. And so he looks much different, of course, because it's like not his body from 10 years ago. And then so he's got like a longer hair and a beard, and interesting, like just one straight line, his goggles. And then Beast, and the Beast is like white, which is very interesting. So this one is full of a bunch of individual stories. So it kind of touches all over the universe. So I will just tell you, I did not get to read the stories that are in this book, but I looked through it enough to tell you that a lot of the titles that are having the Age of Revolution this week do touch each other in significant ways in storyline, which is why it's difficult to do the review, because I'm not 100%. It's hard to keep them separate. I will tell you that a lot. So anyway, they're good. I just don't know what's in this one. First live action X-Men, kind of. Strange Tales is so fun. Okay. So this starts out with, I'm going to get none of their names correct, but 4 friends, 2 that are, one is a witch, one is has some other powers, and they're dating the 2 girls. And then there's 2 guys that are married, and they get together and they are enjoying a box game that kind of feels like part D&D. Yeah, it's kind of part D&D. So it does involve dice rolls, and it's one that one of them picked up from a resale shop or somewhere. So there's nowhere. It's really fun. Because when you first meet the one of the characters, the little girl in the black outfit there, when they all got together for their gathering, they were presented with some costumes to wear for fun, to have it be more fun, double date kind of deal. And her power is interesting because hers is she can call up any kind of thing for magic, but she can only use that word one time ever. So if she calls, it's like do you guys remember, was it Scribble Nuts? Where you could have anything show up to help you through a task, but you could only use that word ever once. Like you couldn't call on God more than one time or use a ladder more than one time. Do you guys remember this thing? Is it just me? So that's her power. And she's, when you first meet her, she's running away from a dragon. So the part of the story where it tells you that they've been playing D&D kind of thing, then that actually kind of is a jump back, so you can see that. And who enters the fray to help? Oh, sorry, by the way. So two of the people actually, or 3 of them actually, disappear. And the girl, the little black outfit there, goes and finds the Scarlet Witch. And then this is primarily about them trying to figure out what's going on. And the premise is kind of cool. I'll give it away a little bit. Is that the game really does have like some real world implications for what they're doing. It's kind of Jumanji-ish, if that makes sense. So this one's really fun, especially if you like role playing or table games. It's just super cool. Planet Hulk. Planet Hulk is exactly what you expect. You're back to the planet where Sakaar, and Hulk here is all of the gladiators are not imprisoned on Sakaar. They're kind of like out in the wilderness, and they're struggling for food, which he does provide for them. But when we meet them, he's not around, and they're stressed out, and they're looking for creatures or each other, I guess, to kill and eat. You do have Korg in this, who is a much different design than the one in the movies. He's got a very tall, rocky head and is much more serious. He's not goofy like in the movie. And this is about the Hulk basically saying he just wants to be Hulk. He's not, what do they call him? Scarson. I think they call him Scarson, or they have a million names for him on the planet. The Green something. If you missed Planet Hulk or Sakaar, this one is fun. Romp back into that part of the universe. Oh my goodness. I am so excited for y'all. So The Punisher. I know what you're going to say to yourself. Isn't there another The Punisher that just started that was a red band book? Yes, there was. Yes, there was. This is not that. This is way different. So this is Jimmy Palmiotti writing and Dan Panosian doing the art, which if you've been paying attention to some of his, I think he's been doing some DC, like B covers for a while that are just mind-blowingly good. He's got a very distinct style, Dan Panosian. So he does all the interiors for this, which is spectacular. In this one, the actual Frank Castle is still the Punisher. Sorry. He's still around. He's still alive. There's nothing wrong with him. He is doing on his way of doing the thing he always does, which is to do some punishing. There is a new bad guy player in town that I don't know who that is. but he has created a some kind of drug that he can give people to make them, for lack of a better term, like zombifies them, but not in the way that you're thinking, like, whoa, zombie, but in the way that voodoo uses, or like has in stories, uses it to, like, you can actually make a human zombie that's just like open to doing whatever you tell them to, right? There's kind of like mindless machines, which he does actually meet one that has been made. And he does get captured in this book, and they try to use this stuff on him. So this is real bloody, real Punisher-y. There's not a new character. No one's trying to be put in the new Punisher role. That's not what's going on. But it does change what the Punisher is and does. So it's crazy. And it's definitely part of the Marvel Knights universe. It should be. It's more likely to have been. So weird. I don't understand what they're doing right now. I feel like there are things that should be red banned, this, and things that are red banned, stuff that was actually red banned that was not. It didn't need to be red banned. There wasn't a lot to it. There's some mainline Marvel titles right now which are really violent and very bloody and like disembowelings and stuff. And that seems more red band worthy than the other things. But that's okay. I don't really care. Whatever makes them keep on making really awesome books, I don't care how they present them. So this was one of those that I didn't read all of it because this is another one of those really cool anthology books. This one is Marvel Black, White, Blood, and Guts. So read it to be their kind of like Halloween facing title for right now. The first one is a very cool story. I read the first one. It is a Blade tale. So if you like Blade, you will love it. And it is in the tradition of doing black, white, and red on the pages and not other colors. Although it's got some green on this cover, so maybe later on in the issues it has other things. So if you're going to believe what's on the cover, there's other tales, including one with the Silver Surfer in it. But I read the one with Blade, who's kind of like standing in the back. And it's awesome, and I love Blade, and I wish we had like a Blade movie again. I miss it. Connected to World to Come. Oh, the last one? I would believe that. The Guy in the Chair. What a fun read this was. Okay, this is a love letter to people that like spycraft. And more specifically, the people that work at behind the scenes in spycraft, not the people that are out in the 007 world where they're the ones doing the shooting and running and jumping and all those things, driving the cars fast, but the people that are doing the things that make it so that they can. Not even the cues that are making this stuff, but the people that are in the guys in the chair. This is specifically about one particular guy in a chair who he's been working with one operative for a long time who he may or may not have a small crush on. And it shows you some successful operations that they have done. It lets you know that their team has been successful enough that they've got, like when you have successful missions on the successful mission board, that they're at the top and that they are aware of other agents and kind of like the competition to have the most successful ops. But there is stuff that's going on. They're always like in all spycraft, other spies and or agencies are always trying to find a way to break in to mess up whatever your op are. And that's what's happening here. There's a lot of little like Easter eggs for what might be happening. I think they're throwing us bad Easter eggs, honestly. I think that they're giving you things that you're like, oh, I know exactly what's going on. It's clear this guy should know better when given this object or that object. But anyway, this book is really fun and twisty and turny, and I'm definitely reading the rest of this series because it's just it's like a little bit romance because you want him to be able to like find love, but he's always in the chair, and he does have a real life. He hangs out with people, but How much can you tell real people that you know about what you do? Nothing. Can't tell anybody anything. All right, I've been waiting for this one for a while. I believe there was a 0 issue of this book that got put out, or an ash can or something, because it does jump into the action as if you've read that other part. So I'll get you caught up. So the first part of Masterminds really follows. Oh, this is number 2. No wonder. So there is a number 1 out there. This guy who works for a tech company, he has come up with a cool game that he would like to present. And the head of the company doesn't give him a lot of time of day, but he is. I know. Sorry, I got sparkles on my tongue. And he kind of ends up in this weird interaction with a group he doesn't see, but he gets messages from that says, "Hey, if you want to become part of the Masterminds, which is obviously some kind of secret underground group, then you have to pass all of these crazy tasks." So like think like real life puzzles. And in the last issue, he actually successfully made it through one, and he's got this little like pager or something they messaged him with. And so you get to see him at the very beginning of this one. He's still got that girl that ended up with him from the last issue. And they find themselves at one end of a room with a bunch of, like, it looks like bodies, but they are actually just mannequins. And they have to figure out how to make it through the bodies and whatever sequence or whatever needs to happen to be able to get to the other end. So they can get to their third task, which it's more and more I'm like going, I don't know if what they're doing is actually going to get them what they want, which is they get to be a mastermind, or if they're only being used. Do you know those cool movies where someone answers their phone and you're like, don't answer your phone. I don't like answering my phone anymore. Where it's like you answer the phone and that person's like, don't hang up. Do this task or I'm going to poke your puppy dog with big pointy sticks or whatever. You know, threaten your family or whatever. That's what I feel like is going on. But this is like a dangle the carrot instead of poke with sticks scenario. I think they're using them to get something done. But maybe they're just going to disappear into the ether at the end. Maybe it's not true. Maybe they'll get to the end. They'll be a mastermind and we'll find out what the masterminds are. But it's a cool twisty tale. It's by my friend Zach Kaplan, who always writes really great, could be turned into movies at any moment books. So I'm excited. See, I made it that far without everything falling out of my brain. Let's see if we can make it the rest of the way. Red Book. There are a great big series of books called Blue Book that are by this exact same creative team, James Tynion and Emming and Napoliato. This is really cool. So what it does, what the Blue Books did was take tales that happened in America that were UFO sightings or experiences and tells the tale in illustrated way, really nice. And then at the very end, it would have its own original kind of story, not necessarily tied to what the real life tale was about, but really wonderful. And this is that same story thing continuing on, which, by the way, you can jump in anywhere because they're all individual complete stories. They're not tied to any of the other books. This one is Red Book. So it's stories about unsolvable alienish feeling interactions, but this are Russia. So this one deals with that really weird incident that happened in real life where they had a bunch of hikers die. They found their bodies in really weird situations. Almost all of them were unclothed. They had run away from their camp without their gear on. They had crushed skulls and body cavities and things missing from their bodies. And they never have ever been able to figure out what's going on. And high radiation wherever they were. They don't know what happened, and they probably never will, because there aren't going to be like a secret camera that's going to show up and show us what happened in 1960, whatever. So I love these books because I am totally about any alien spook tales for sure. Hussein is in this book. Nope. And Alive Part 2. No. You guys are so awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. This is an awesome book. If you are not already already reading Absolute Batman, join the rest of the universe, because we add new readers at our store at the rate of many per day. No lie, I think I sold 25 copies of Absolute Batman graphic novel at my convention this weekend, and the store sold some other crazy amount. If you haven't figured it out from reading the internet, there is a new character that is shown in this book, but it's mostly interaction between Catwoman, Selina, and Batman, and a little more insight into his, remember when he was captured and Bane basically wired him up with venom. So it's actually part of his physiology now. He can use it or he doesn't need to use it. Yeah, they will be. Absolutely, Barlord. And this sparks their romance. There is a definite ooh la la in this book. It's so funny because they allowed this to totally happen. And it feels like it's every bit more adult than Batman Damned was. So, okay. There's a lot of talk about why Catwoman's helmet looks a lot like the Black Mask Society that's been the main baddies for part of the series. Saw a picture of Absolute Joker. If it was real, very odd character design. Nope, that's not the picture I saw, Corey. So this is a lot about whether, if he's put to the task, if he is put up against the wall, if he's going to choose to use the venom, even though he's been told that takes him down a path which aligns him with what Bane wants to have happen, right? That is truly what they desire, for him to come into the fold. So you need to find yours. Yep. It has been out there on the internet, the actual picture of there's a first reveal in here, which is a very different design for this character than we're used to. But yeah, definitely pick this book up. I know people are starting to say that they're just going to wait until the graphic novels come out, but if you're going to wait for this one, you're going to be waiting for a year. A year! He's going to join Dead Mouths. Or Daft Punk. Yeah. She kind of looks like that a little bit, huh? So yeah, grab this for sure. You're going to have to wait a whole year to read it if you don't get individual issues, honestly. So okay, there are a bunch, like I said, of books that are number ones that are tied to Age of Revelation. This one, although being called Long Shots, which makes you believe that Long Shot is in this book, that's a lie. They just borrowed his cool logo. It is actually a gathering of characters. It's kind of like for lack of a better term, a team. But the premise of this book is mostly you get to see him on the front cover. There's like Mojo is always working his angle for he uses media or TV or those kinds of things to manipulate. So that is largely what this book is about in a nutshell. Help, I'm stuck in a nutshell. What's that reference from? And this Age of Revelation is Laura Kinney's Sabretooth, in which it is very clear that in order to be Sabretooth, behave. That in order to be Sabretooth, that doesn't mean that you have to be related to that character, although I think technically she must be, right? Because isn't Sabretooth Wolverine's brother? And she's okay. So maybe this works out pretty well. And that's the big premise here, is that she's taken on that mantle and super violent. It's really cool, and it does completely tie like it. There are the characters, all the main characters that are part of the Age of Revelation. You get to, in every single issue, I think this week, you do get to see some revelation, the character, and who is working with him or being manipulated by him to his ends. So that's what this book is about. You get to introduce to a new character and how they fit within the universe. Imperial War. I kind of thought that we were wrapped up with the storyline that's part of this. this one goes back and touches on the revelation that they had. That was, I think, in issue number 3. I think number 3 of Imperial, the main storyline. There was a second story arc that was in here. I gotta remember. Hold on. So this one has some main characters in it that they follow. You have definitely as a main character for this one a lot of Captain Marvel. You have Gamora. And who's my other guy here? Yeah, I'm gonna forget. There's definitely some Super Scroll action, but this is all about doubling out on somebody. And that's why you want to read this book. There is a character that you know and love who's pretty powerful in the universe that is also related to Punisher, but he's cosmic, that you might want to see. That's why you would want to have this book, because it pulls in that character. Oh no, there's bots. You guys can't see it, but over on Twitch, there's a bot trying to bot. They keep trying. Okay, so of all of the books that came out this week that are Age of Revelation tied, these next 2 are the ones I like the most. So this one's Binary, which really does delve straight into the Danvers character that happened when she basically got the power of a dying star or something. She's so overpowered. It's awesome. I love seeing her in this form. Definitely pick up this one because it is a replacement for Captain Marvel. And then this one's the most mainstream out of all of them. This one is really cool because you have the one of the characters from the Uncanny X-Men that Gail Simone has been writing, the kid that is dead, is important to this storyline because, as I said before, you've got Cyclops that's been pulled forward in time. There you can see him more clearly on that cover. You can see his cool kind of like dad bod look. And then the white version of the Beast is sitting there in the front, which is so cool looking. But the characters that have actually made it through here are Animalia, which is you can kind of see she's got her wings on up there at the very front. She's important to the storyline. And then Glob Herman, which is that one that looks like a skeleton inside of blue, kind of like, or green goo. And then Schwarzschild, which I should have remembered who that guy was a long time ago, but I really, really, really don't. I don't remember who that guy is. So basically what has happened here is that Revelation has taken Wolverine and essentially broken him and made him into his own weapon. So you don't have Wolverine fighting for our side at all. He is part of those, I don't think willingly, that's joined the onslaught. Sorry, I keep on saying onslaught. The side of Revelation. But there are some that are still on his side, because they still believe he has their best interests at heart, which is interesting. This one was way more fun than I thought I was going to have, honestly. So this one is Amazing Spider-Man Torn by Straczynski and Perez. This one takes Pete and puts him back into, I'm guessing this is college. It doesn't feel like high school. At least they're not drawn in a high school kind of way. But, oh yeah, they are at university. It is his interaction with Gwen. Gwen's interesting in this one. Gwen is not a love interest for him, but instead a friend. And she's actually trying to get him to feel brave enough to ask Mary Jane out, which we don't see Mary Jane in this book. But we do see these bad guys that kind of show up and create a lot of trouble for the entire group. And you have this book that shows up at the university. I think it must be the university library. It doesn't make sense for it to be so. Maybe we'll just call it the town library, because it is one of only 3 copies that are known to exist. And this woman shows up saying that she would like to see it, like to do some research with it. And the person that's in charge of it at the library says, absolutely not. It is so rare and actually very dangerous that we have it like in the case, but it's also strapped to the back of the case. So in order to get it out of the case, you would have to wreck it or something. You would rip it. And hence the torn part here. But she is a very determined person. We'll just say that. So this is all about this. The book itself is not the Darkhold, I don't believe, but it is a very dangerous book. And so we're going to find out what the book does. And we don't find out in this issue at all, but it is, I like the dynamic of the main characters. It doesn't feel like anything else that's going on right now. And I like the idea of like something super dangerous like this showing up, and him trying to balance, going to college and being a superhero, where he has to like time out when he gets together with his friends, where he's just like, oh, I'm sorry, I got to go home early. She's got to go do crime. But all his professors thinks he's being lazy and not doing his work. And he looks like he's strung out all the time because he's super tired. He hasn't had any sleep. So he gets blamed for, not putting his all into it. A Spider-Man book with Peter Parker? No way. Can't get enough Peter Parker. All right, this is the book for everybody this week. Okay. You might see one of these bad boys show up at your local comic shop. Who will win? I'm not going to be able to get it right. Here you go. So this did not start the way that I had anticipated. I understand the complete concept of the way this series is rolling out. This gives you a lot more information at the beginning of this for the why and how that looks. I thought what was happening was the heroes were having to battle amongst themselves to generate enough Omega energy to fight against Darkseid. It's not quite what's going on. What's happening is they are having to do battle heavily, but not against each other 100%, in order to survive. It's mostly about surviving around to be able to be the champion, because they are doing a reset. How to explain this? So at the center of all of the places that Darkseid are tied to is Apocalypse, right? He's got this like deep connection to it. And he has done something to our Earth in that regard that ties this to basically kind of like a new apocalypse idea. And it is an engine that is running in the center of our planet, which they say in this book that Superman is kind of known for a while. Probably at the very beginning of All In, there was a book in which he felt there was something wrong. That's the something wrong that's going on. There are so many revelations in this book about what's actually going on and where we are in the timeline for what's going on. It will blow your mind. In the first couple of pages, it really tells you what's at stake. I will just tell you as a spoiler alert, we have already lost. Everything that's happening right now is trying to change what has already happened. Like those movies where it says this is an inevitability. That's what feels like is going on right now. So this is desperation move. Big desperation move by all of our heroes. No, it'll not be fine. There's real things that go on in this first issue that are going to hurt you. Not everyone makes it out of this first issue. You can tell my face is all red. I'm so excited about this series. So I will tell you that I've already doubled up my order. This morning I went and ordered twice as much as I had originally ordered, because I see now, after reading this one, what I thought was better than just a regular tournament. Because sincerely, at the beginning when they first announced this, I thought it was just going to be like this guy versus that guy to be the strongest guy. No, it's really kind of what's happening, because we've got a big tournament thing, but really it's got so much more going on. And it has paid off a lot to have been reading all of the little DCKO tie-ins that have happened coming up until now. So if you can find an LCS that has any of those early issues that actually kind of mention some of them within this book, where they do the little asterisk, you're betting many brackets get done in. I know that they said that if you get it turned in today, I know if you go to the DC.com site, there you can make a guess for the entirety of the thing. And if you get it all correct, then you're going to win something crazy. But I think this ends today, because obviously everyone's going to get their book tomorrow, and they'll know they're not going to know what to be able to get to guess everything, honestly. But because this book actually itself introduces who makes the first 32, so that it fills the brackets in. But it doesn't present it that way. It presents it as these are the people that made it through the first gauntlet of not being killed, kind of, basically. So they know brackets will be destroyed, so they don't care. Anyway, it's gonna be fun. I suspect that there are things that we don't know about like whose skill sets are best for what challenges are going to be thrown at them. And there's so many good, like, you thought this was happening, but that's happening in this. Do not kind of like wander into your store at 5 o'clock tomorrow and expect to see this on the rack. Call them tonight and make sure you have a copy secured, or go there first thing in the morning. Put it all on your pull box. You're really, really going to be happy about being one of the smart kids in the room. And if for nothing else, honestly, this feels like one of those water cooler series where everyone's going to be talking about it every week, just like they've been doing with absolute everything. That when you go to your local comic shop, you can stand around with people and be like, I'm making sure no one's within earshot. But if you've read the book already, I want to talk to you about all the cool stuff that's in this book. That every week people are going to be talking about all the little Easter eggs or what could be happening. It's going to be so fun. Thank you, Scott Snyder, for being so smart that when I think I know what you're doing, I don't know what you're doing. And it's not a bad thing. It's such a good thing that you're so smart about everything that you write. You've been doing it since the beginning of making it cool things like death metal and all the other things you've been working on. You're just like a master universe builder. Keep making things, man. I will keep buying them forever and ever and ever. I'm so thankful. And I think I made it through without forgetting all my stuff. Woo! Yeah. There are a bunch of graphic novels that are coming out this week that you might think about. What was the one I was really excited about? Where's behind me? Oh, volume 2. You know those giant big volumes, compendiums of the Transformers that they put out? Those big gigantic babies? The volume 2 of that is out. I can't remember how many volumes there are for this compendium. This gives you all of the 1984 Transformers, number 47 through 80, the movie 1 through 3, Transformers Generation 2, 1 through 12. Oh my gosh. So many cool things. You get to finally have your full graphic novel for Bug Wars. I know a lot of people were reading such things. And if you missed out on your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Naruto graphic novel, I know the individual books were kind of hard to come by. This really fun romp, The Loose End, Dark Empty Void. So if you want to get used to Kaplan's writing style, he's written a ton of different series, but this is the one that he wrote before the one that releases this week. It's Untied. And third volume of Phantom Road, Into the Unbeing comes out. There are even more graphic novels, honestly, because she just brought me a couple boxes full of stuff. Oh no, that's my restock for Dan to Dan. I feel so happy right now. Dan to Dan, number 15, right? Yeah, 15. All right, thank you guys. Don't trigger it. Actually, no, it's white light. What's so cool about it is it's printed on that newsprint that you would expect from that era. So it's actually a really light Transformers book for what its size is. And fun fact, we brought one of those to our booth at the convention, and we watched. It looks like every single person that walked by it had to do this, where you like kind of like roll through the pages, like I don't know. Maybe it's the texture thing because it is that lighter paper. Maybe it just feels cool. Thanks, Corey. I appreciate you so much. Thanks everybody for showing up every week and putting up with just one person doing all the reviews. I hope I do right by you and don't leave anything out. Thanks for being forgiven in my old brain that I have to go back and refer to them every once in a while. Go hit up your local comic shop definitely this week and enjoy it. Coming up next, we have Wonderland. This is the first time we get Wonderland back. Jay knows everything.
Yes, we got Welcome to Wonderland with Rich Davis and AJ next. And then later on tonight, 10 Eastern, 9 Central, you got Kicking It with Henri.
Ooh, high energy Henri. If you guys have never watched Henri's show, just go watch it just for getting extra energy. You might actually get to see his puppy dog and or his boys. They're also super fun. And you might get to spin the wheel of skid bark. You have to be there to understand what that is. The champion is stuck in the Marvel universe. Okay, well, maybe so. There's a lot more crossovers, by the way. If you're interested in Marvel versus DC kind of stuff, they just announced some more. And it looks like it's going to kind of like get a slow roll out for all the ones you really wanted. So I was kind of worried that we're going to give us everything, but looks like we're going to get it all. All right, everybody. I will see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.